Hi guys, hope everyone is well and welcome back to the Improvement Podcast. So, in this episode, I'm going to dive into why you're not losing weight. So, as the title suggests, I'm going to dive into the pitfalls of why I think people don't reach their weight loss goals. So, the first thing I want to talk about is eating healthy. So, eating healthy is very different from eating low calorie foods. So, in order to lose weight, you need to burn more calories than you're currently eating. If you want to know more about that, visit the How to Set Up a Diet podcast, where I dive into how to set up a diet for you to reach your goals and how exactly you should be eating and what amount of calories you should be eating. So, eating healthy can you can eat healthy and still eat a good 4,500 calories. That's what I'm doing now. I think 90% of my diet people would class it as healthy, maybe more, probably all of it really. But I'm eating 4,500 calories, and if the vast majority of the population done that, they'd probably gain quite a lot of weight. So that's obviously not what you're after. So a good examples like avocados, nuts, things like that. You could say, oh, they're healthy foods, but they are really high in calories. Whereas you could probably eat something that's quote unquote unhealthy, but you'd be eating much less calories, if that makes sense. So this is why I advise tracking. I know tracking's not enjoyable, you don't want to do it, it's a pain in the arse to get into, but if you have experience tracking, you can then be aware of what foods are high in calorie, what foods are low in calorie, so that after you're tracking, you can have the nutritional knowledge to do it without tracking, basically, and know how to lose weight effectively, what foods are good to eat, what foods aren't that great to eat. Yeah, like I said, I appreciate it is a bit annoying, but also lets you know what foods are high in protein, fats, carbohydrates, and just gives you, like I said, nutritional knowledge, which is very valuable for life as a whole. And advise at least doing it for a couple months, because then if you're using something like MyFitnessPal, which is like a nutritional tracking app, you can see exactly how much calories is in each food. And from this, when you step away from tracking, you can just use it to influence your daily nutritional habits. For example, if you've been tracking for a while and you know what foods are high in low calories, let's say you then want to gain weight, you can just make an effort of eating foods a wee bit higher in calories and just basically eating to the sense of fullness. Whereas if you're trying to lose weight, it's quite hard to do so if you've not got experience tracking at all. So yeah, I'll always recommend tracking. I know, like I said, it's not something you want to do long term, but it's something that's definitely very, very, very valuable. And it will save you basically pissing in the wind. What I mean by this is just wasting your time trying to lose weight and just not getting to your goals, if that makes sense. And as for my next point, it's not exercising. So just like how you limit how much calories you eat to lose weight, it makes sense to keep an eye and keep consistent the calories you're burning. So the more calories you burn, the more calories you eat while still losing weight, if that makes sense. Does this mean burn as much calories possible during exercise? No, but it's definitely something you should utilise. So the 2 points I'm going to go into about not exercising is steps and weight training. So the reason why you want to probably have a step goal, which is really, really valuable, is one, it's not that taxing. For example, it's not that mentally or physically draining having to go a walk, whereas if you're signing yourself up for like doing a run every day, it's a bit more effort. When you're tired, you might not want to do it. And secondly, if you track your steps daily and you have a step goal, it means you'll consistently burn a decent amount of calories and a similar amount of calories daily. Because why would you track how much calories you're eating and keep them consistent if you're not tracking how much calories you're burning? So this means you could be eating enough calories to gain weight one day, and then next day you'll be eating enough to lose weight, if that makes sense. So if you're tracking them every day, it makes sense to also track your steps just to keep you in a calorie deficit, or in other words, to keep you consistently losing weight. Next is weight training. So I'm a big advocate of weight training, not even if you're wanting to build muscle, if you're wanting to lose body fat, it is extremely valuable. And most of the time when people want to lose body fat is to improve their appearance. And guess what weight training does? Improve your appearance. So if you're training to build muscle, if you build muscle, it usually makes you look more toned. And just look leaner, actually. Yeah, just look leaner and toned. So I always advise people do that. It gives everyone like more shape, if that makes sense. So regardless, if your goal is to build muscle, if you want to lose weight, I'd recommend doing it strongly. And another reason why you may want to weight train is because your body's like a car. If the bigger engine you've got, the more calories you'll burn. And what I mean by this is, if you are, let's say you're 60 kilos and you've not got a lot of muscle, or like myself, you're 90 kilos and you've got an alright amount of muscle, the 90 kilo person will burn more calories on a daily basis because they've got more muscle. Muscle requires calories to maintain muscle, if that makes sense. So it means basically, like the car analogy, your engine will be bigger, so you'll require more fuel on a daily basis. So that means if you build an alright amount of muscle, you can get away with eating more calories on a daily basis while still maintaining weight, and also looking leaner, looking more toned, having more shape to your body, and so on and so on. And it's really not sustainable trying to eat low calories all the time if you're trying to lose weight. So if you manage, or just maintaining a low level of body fat, but if you weight train, like I said, your calories you burn on a daily basis will go up. So if you manage to do that, you'll continuously be able to eat more calories. And as a result, it will make losing weight and maintaining your weight much, much more sustainable. So yeah, strongly recommend you weight train. It doesn't have to be 6 times a week. Even doing it like twice a week's better than nothing. But I definitely make a point from doing so. So unlike like cardio, when you do cardio, you're just burning calories. You don't increase how much calories you'll burn tomorrow or the next day or the next week. Whereas if you build muscle, you'll literally burn more calories the following week if you manage to build muscle, if that makes sense. Because like I said, you'll have a bigger fuel tank and more demand for calories. So you'll be able to eat more and maintain weight, or lose weight eating more, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's why I'd always recommend just doing weight training for your first source of exercise. Because like I said, yeah, cardio, you might burn more calories in the moment, but long term, you're only burning calories that day, which isn't very great. And a good example of it is like when you look at who the leanest athletes are and who are able to get that lean, is bodybuilders. So bodybuilders are able to get extremely lean, and they've got a lot of muscle, which helps them get that lean. So obviously a bit of an extreme analogy, but I think you get the point. The more muscle you have, the easier it is to get a lean physique. And the next thing that I think people mess up on is tracking accuracy. So when trying to track your nutrition, unless you're eating the same thing every single day, sometimes people's accuracy can fail. So it is sometimes really hard to be accurate with your food, especially when eating out and doing things like that. But just in general, like if let's say you're making a sandwich, let's say you put peanut butter on it, or you're putting peanut butter in your porridge, if you just gauge what one serving is, if you just get a knife's worth, sometimes you can literally get double the amount of calories on a knife, if that makes sense. So it's a really, really good idea to weigh your food, just so you have experience knowing how much food is a certain amount of calories, and 2, so it's accurate. Because doubling your peanut butter by accident, that could be an extra 200 calories in your diet, if that makes sense, each day, which could be the difference from losing weight or maintaining weight. So that's something I strongly recommend doing with somewhat all your nutrition for a bit. Obviously, if you're eating an apple, you don't have to weigh your apple. It's a bit overboard. But same with sauces, things like that, they all add up. So if you're adding sauces in your diet, they could be hidden calories sneaking in your diet. So you could think, oh, I'm eating 2,000 calories. But if you're having sauce, let's say, for 2 meals a day, that could be an extra 300 calories just there alone from sauce. So like I said, that could be the difference from making progress and not making progress. So make sure every single thing in your diet you're accounting for it. If it's just a wee biscuit you're having at lunch, or a bit of dark chocolate or whatever, just make sure you're accounting for it. And the next point I'm going to go over is people just flushing their progress down the drain on the weekend. So I am one who's more than happy for my clients to have balance, for my clients to go out and obviously have a good time drinking that, but it's something you should be mindful of when you're trying to lose weight. So I put a post on Instagram similar to what I'm going to discuss. So everyone, I feel like no one wants to sacrifice anything when reaching their goals, because you get a lot of like online coaches and just people on Instagram and people who are trying to promote their business saying, so and so, let's say John managed to lose £10 while eating out, drinking, and maintaining a social life. And yeah, that's true, it's possible, but you need to do it to a certain extent. So you can't just drink all the time. Let's say if you're drinking 3 times a week, you're going out twice a week for food, and then you're eating healthy the rest of the time, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're making it so much harder for yourself. So yes, you can still make progress while drinking now and then, but it's to an extent. So just be mindful of it, because yes, like I said, you can make progress, but it is gonna limit you a lot because there's a ton of calories in drink. For example, like in a known like a 35 of vodka or 350ml of vodka, there's like 700 calories, which is quite a lot. So that's what I recommend to my clients actually. So if you drink regularly and you're looking to lose weight, if you want a drink recommendation, probably your best option is a spirit and a like 0 sugar drink. So something like a vodka and diet Coke or lemonade or something like that. That's probably your best bet with like the lowest amount of calories in it. So as well as ruining progress on your weekend, something you could do is just factor in what you're doing on the weekend during the week. For example, if you're planning on drinking or having a meal out on the weekend, let's say you plan on going over your calories by, let's say 700, so you're having around a 35 of vodka or 350ml of vodka, you can then just take away 100 calories per day of what you're planning on eating, and then that's substituted in. Yes, you might be a bit hungrier during the week, but it means you can still enjoy having a drink on the weekend without ruining your progress. But like I said, if you're doing this 3 days in the weekend and eating out, getting a takeaway on your way home, you're just going to make it really, really, really hard for yourself. So just be mindful of it, like I said. So another thing that I think disrupts people's progress on the weekend is when they do go out, it's really hard for them to get back on plan after. So let's say you go out, you drink, you're hungover, you feel rubbish the next day, you order, or you have a fry up in that because you feel hungover, then you're probably gonna go over your calories that day, or you might go over your calories after eating more the night before and going over your calories the night before, and then they struggle to get back into the swing of things. So my biggest recommendation is just try and get back to it like rapid. So try and just flip the switch the next morning, just think back on plan, because most of the time, I've said this before, drinking doesn't ruin the progress. It's what happens after you drink when you ruin the progress. If like you don't eat well, or you don't train, you miss the gym, you don't get your steps in, so on, so on. So yeah, just be mindful of that as well. So it's not just being hungover that's a problem, or drinking that's a problem, it's the effects it has. And the next thing that I believe holds people back is not spending time building their calories up. So in order to lose weight, you don't want to be eating something like, let's say, 1,000 calories a day, because that's a really, really low amount of calories. And due to this, it's going to be really hard to stick to it compared to eating 3,000 calories a day, because you'll be much hungrier eating 1,000 calories. You won't be able to eat a lot of food. Let's say if you go for a big meal out, that's over 1,000 calories already. So, and due to this, I think it's beneficial to just spend time building your calories up. So this is done by like going on a slow gaining phase, if that makes sense. So slowly, like weight training, eating more calories when your weight doesn't rise, and just building your calorie consumption up. So this is what I've done with a couple of my clients. So next time they go down to diet, it'll be so easy because they're on much higher calories. So I think a good example is my client Ryan. I believe we finished his diet on something like 1,600 calories for, that was only a couple of weeks, but it is pretty low, and I wouldn't want to push them much lower. But now I think we've built them up to 2,800 calories. So next time he goes to the diet, we can like take 300 calories off and he'll be on 2,500 calories, which is a lot of calories to diet on for him. And then when he stalls, we've still got room to drop his calories from there. So yeah, I recommend always trying to spend time building your calories up, because your metabolism adapts to whatever you do. So if you're constantly dieting down, then your body's going to adapt to it. So your calorie maintenance, or your maintenance calories, will just get lower and lower and lower. And what I mean by this is the amount of calories that you need to eat to maintain weight will just drop and just keep dropping and dropping. So then you'll be stuck on a really low amount of calories. If you lose weight, you'll have to go even lower, and it'll be really, really hard to stick to it. So that's something that I'd definitely avoid if you're looking to lose weight. So sometimes it might sound counterproductive to your goal, but even spending time in a surplus will help your dieting phase run smoother and help improve your appearance when you're dieting. And sometimes even being in a surplus, you look better, you look leaner. So I've had this with a few of my clients as well, like and myself actually. So when they finish their, like, if they finish the diet with me, they look quite lean, yes, but when they get into a calorie surplus for a few weeks, they're training, they're eating to support the training, they just look much bigger, much more toned. Their appearance improves a lot within a few weeks. So don't just associate scale weight with how good you look, because it doesn't matter what you weigh in the scales, it's just a tool. So if you look better, you feel better, you've got more energy when you're a wee bit heavier, then that's completely fine. So my next point is adherence. So I think, well, this is basically the main thing that holds people back from sticking to a diet, people not being able to stick to it. So a few things that I believe might cause it to be quite hard to stick to is being restrictive. So if you're eliminating a lot of foods and you're only eating, let's say, really healthy food, so let's say you're eating chicken, rice and broccoli 5 times a day, bit of an exaggeration, but you get the drift. So what happens if you're going out for a meal, there's no chicken, rice and broccoli? You're going to have to, quote unquote, cheat on your diet. So you'll have that mentality if you only like center yourself to eating a certain food. You'll think, oh, my diet's ruined now. So you don't have to restrict yourself if you're dieting. You can eat basically whatever you want and lose weight. So just try and get that in your head. But that doesn't mean you should eat whatever you want and lose weight, because you'll probably be much, much more fuller eating something like an apple, an orange, banana, than you will eating like one chocolate bar, for example. And another good example is like Ben and Jerry's. If you eat a tub of that, that's like 1,000 calories. Whereas for that, you could probably have like your breakfast and lunch. You could probably have like breakfast as like porridge oats. You could have mixed berries, something like that, and then like an orange with that. And for lunch, you could have maybe like a chicken salad with like croquettes, or like a sandwich, and that wouldn't even be over 1,000 calories. So just be mindful of what food choices you have. Yes, you might enjoy Ben and Jerry's, but if it means then you've got no calories for the rest of your day and it's really hard to stick to and it doesn't fill you up, then it might be better just leaving that food for when your diet is done. Because if you're extremely hungry and you just crave more food, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So next, going on to that, is hunger. So I just basically commented on that. Focus on having high volume foods. So these are foods like vegetables, like maybe like rice cakes, some rices, you could argue some potato, because they're usually low in calorie and they fill you up. And same with fruit. I don't know if I mentioned fruit, but vegetables and fruit, yes. So yeah, just fill your diet with that. When you get used to tracking, you'll be able to find out what foods are higher in calories and what foods are low in calories. So again, that's why I recommend tracking for a wee while, and it will help you work this out and be able to put that into your diet. Another good option is something like Greek yogurt. That's nice with like protein and maybe some fruit in it as well. So yeah, just bear that in mind. And third is enjoyment. So if you don't enjoy your diet, it's going to be really, really hard to stick to, regardless if you're trying to lose weight or not. So make sure you are incorporating foods you enjoy. So like I said, probably not a good idea to eat Ben and Jerry's. It's probably just going to be really hard to stick to your diet, but that doesn't mean you need to eat plain, bland foods that you don't like. It's definitely a balancing act, so if you want an odd bit of dark chocolate here and there, or if you want some Nutella in your porridge, have at it. Just make sure it's in moderation and you're taking it into account when tracking your calories, and you're still hitting your calorie goal. So, yeah, like I said, it's a balancing act between having your diet enjoyable, but having your diet pretty low in calories, having foods that fill you up, because most of the time, foods that are really tasty are ones that don't fill you up, if that makes sense. So, yeah, most of the time that's the case, which is sad but true. And yeah, so that's all the tips I'm giving you today. Hope you found something valuable from this. If you're looking to get more information of how to set up a diet, if you're looking to lose body fat, I've got another episode called How to Set Up Your Diet. And this will teach you how to work out what calories you should be eating on a daily basis if you're looking to lose weight or gain weight. So yeah, definitely advise you checking that out if you want to. And if you want any help in terms of setting up a diet or that, just drop me a message and I'll happily help you. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode. Any suggestions, just give me a shout. And please like, subscribe, whatever you're watching it on. Leave me a review and it would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you in the next one.